Federal courts allow offshore wind projects to resume construction. A federal judge has ruled that construction on the Sunrise Wind offshore wind project may resume, marking the fifth consecutive court decision allowing previously suspended offshore wind developments along the U.S. East Coast to move forward. The ruling, issued by Judge Royce Lamberth in Washington, D.C., follows similar decisions affecting Vineyard Wind off Massachusetts, Revolution Wind off Rhode Island, Empire Wind off New York, and Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind, CVOW. All 5 projects had been halted in December amid federal challenges tied to offshore wind lease approvals and permitting reviews. Together, the projects represent more than 1.7 gigawatts of planned generation capacity, enough to power over 1 million homes once completed, according to project sponsors and state agencies. Courts emphasize process over pause. In each case, judges have declined to keep construction suspended while legal challenges proceed, concluding that the federal government had not met the burden required to justify stopping projects that had already received full permits. The courts emphasized that the projects underwent extensive environmental and interagency review prior to approval, including evaluations involving the Department of Defense. While legal challenges to the permits may continue, judges have repeatedly determined that halting construction midstream was not warranted. For developers, the rulings provide near-term clarity after months of uncertainty, but not full resolution. Why these rulings matter beyond offshore wind. The decisions have broader implications for infrastructure development at a time when electricity demand is rising faster than new capacity additions in many regions. Offshore wind projects along the East Coast are positioned as long-duration assets that help diversify supply, reduce reliance on fossil fuels, and add capacity in densely populated load centers. Delays to those projects can have downstream effects, including higher wholesale prices, tighter reserve margins, and increased reliance on existing generation during peak periods. Industry observers note that repeated stop work orders, particularly after construction has begun, introduce execution risk that can ripple through financing, workforce planning, and supply chains. Workforce and cost implications, project suspensions also carry labor and cost consequences. Several of the halted projects had already mobilized vessels, manufacturing contracts, and union labor. When work stops mid-construction, workers are sent home, equipment sits idle, and costs can escalate when projects restart. Advocacy organizations and labor groups welcomed the rulings, arguing that construction delays translate into lost wages and higher energy costs. While courts did not weigh in on those economic arguments directly, they did note the disruption caused by mid-project suspensions, permitting certainty under scrutiny. Taken together, the 5 rulings reinforce a central tension facing U.S. energy development. Projects are increasingly evaluated twice, once through permitting and again through litigation. For developers and investors, the key issue is not whether legal challenges exist, but whether projects that have cleared formal review processes can rely on those approvals to proceed. As courts continue to allow construction to resume, attention is shifting toward the durability of federal permitting decisions and the standards required to justify intervention after approvals are granted. What comes next? While construction may now move forward, the underlying legal challenges have not been resolved. Future court decisions could still affect project timelines, conditions, or operations. For now, however, the rulings restore momentum to a segment of the energy sector that has faced mounting uncertainty. At a time when grid planners, utilities, and policymakers are grappling with how to meet growing electricity demand without exacerbating cost and reliability risks. For a detailed list of all projects, please click on the link. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.